Hello, and thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. If we haven't met, I'm Kelly, and I am the Marketing Whisperer. Today, I might go a little off script, but this is the first newsletter I did for, and it's really what started my whole path in marketing. At the time, I probably didn't realize it, but as I look back, I realized so much came from this one simple summer. Everything I know about marketing started with a fruit stand. Oops, it was the second time that summer the Houston Health Department had come by and shut us down because I didn't have a permit. Excuse me, and I don't have a voice right now. But this time it was permanent. It was like, i.e., young lady, I don't want to see you here again without the proper paperwork. And honestly, timing couldn't have been better. School was starting in a week. The August heat was really brutal. And I was ready for a few days off to hit the beach, hang out with friends, and dream about college. But that summer, the summer of the fruit stand, taught me more about business, people, and marketing than any class ever could. And the bonus lesson, I also learned that permits matter, and so does playing by the rules. But the real lesson was learned that all around understanding people, what makes them stop, what makes them smile, what makes them buy, and what makes them come back to work with you again and again. That summer, I learned that marketing isn't really about selling, it's about connecting and learning to use your connections. So lesson one was ask boldly, settle strategically. My car was on the blink. Repairs were costing more than the car was worth. I didn't have any money. I could probably buy something nicer, or I could get creative. One night, my parents were hosting a dinner party, and one of the guests just happened to be the president of the local bank. And I heard him complaining about how many repossessed cars they had sitting on the lot. And right then it hit me. I'd had an idea for a fruit stand, but I thought I needed a truck. But what I really needed was a cheap car with big trunk space. So the next morning, I put on my best business attire, called the bank, asked for an appointment with the president himself. When I sat down across from him, my dad's friend, Paul Raffetto, he looked equally parts amused and bewildered as I explained I wanted to buy one of his repossessed cars on payments. He laughed. But I had my mom's tenacity, and by the end of that meeting, I walked out with the keys, a $1,500 loan, and a gold-orange Pontiac Bonneville that literally floated down the road like a chrome-plated boat. It was massive. The shocks were shot. The AC didn't work. This is Houston, Texas. But it could hold an entire fruit stand. And just like that, my first business had wheels. So, marketing lesson, if you want something, ask. I mean, the worst they can say is no, and sometimes you can open some very unexpected doors. Lesson number 2, hire happy. My first employees were my little brother and his best friend, Lars. And Lars, if you're happening to hear this, I probably still owe you a raise. But we were young, we were sunburned, we were underpaid, most likely, but it was the best job each of us had ever had. By the day's end, we'd be dusty, sweaty, windows rolled down in that hot Bonneville, laughing our way home with pockets full of cash. My mom said watching us bounce down the road reminded her of the grapes of wrath. We thought we really looked like freedom. Marketing lesson, you can teach skills, but you can't teach joy. Hire people who make work feel like adventure. Your customers will feel it too. Lesson 3, brand before you sell. One morning, we were selling big, beautiful peaches. They were sweet and juicy, and a woman stopped and smiled, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, are these Georgia peaches?" And I didn't know any better. Seeing she was so excited, I was like, "Yep, absolutely." And she bought a full bag. So I grabbed a piece of cardboard and I made a sign, "Fresh Georgia peaches." We sold them out that day. The next morning, I was picking up more produce and saw the boxes labeled, well, I'll just say from somewhere further south than Georgia. They were really good peaches, and I hadn't yet learned about total truth in marketing, so that sign stayed up for as long as we had the peaches. And while it wasn't my most truthful moment, it taught me something I never forgot. Words create emotion, and emotion sells. So lesson number 4, manufacture momentum. We didn't call it social proof in the 70s, but we knew it worked. Busy attracts busy. At first, our fruit stand was slow. A car here, a car there. But when a few people stopped, others followed. And that was my eureka moment. We needed to look busy, desirable all the time. So next door, there was a barbecue place. And the owner of the barbecue place just hated when our customers parked in his lot. So I went over and I offered to let him have his employees park in our spots instead. That way his customers had plenty of room to park, and I had cars in front of my fruit stand all day long. People started pulling in just to see what was going on. The barbecue guy even began recommending us, and soon we had cars lined up around the block. Of course, that visibility is what eventually caught the attention of the health department, but for a while, business was peachy. Marketing lesson. People want to be where the energy is. Create momentum, even if you need to build it yourself. Lesson 5, add value, don't discount. One scorching day, I had too much produce and not enough customers. A woman asked if I'd lower the price on her vegetables. We needed the sale, but we needed the revenue more. So instead of discounting, I increased the price and gave her more. If 3 zucchini were 2, I made it 6 for $3. And she went for it. So I have to say, on a side note, now that I've grown zucchini as an adult, I have no idea what anyone does with 6 of them, but she was thrilled. If I were running that stand today, I'd probably include recipe cards for zucchini 6 ways. But remember, discounts cheapen value. Extras and gifts build value. Add value, don't discount. Lesson 6, test, track, and tweak. Every marketing plan I've ever built since that summer follows the same formula. Try it, test it, keep what works, let go of what doesn't, try again. We tried everything. We renamed produce. Southern squash didn't fly. We were giving away samples, having my business partners, i.e. my brother-in-laws, carry bags to customers' cars. Guess which ones worked? The smiles every time. So before I even knew what KPIs were, I was tracking results. How many sales today? Did the free samples bring people back? Yes. Was staying open an extra hour worth it? Never. Absolutely not. We gave every idea a fair test, and then we moved on fast. So marketing lesson, data is clarity. Pay attention to what's working, but don't overanalyze. Action always creates the best analytics. Lesson 7, collaboration beats competition. Down the road, another fruit stand opened. We were doing great. We were really doing great. I'm just going to do a side note. Like, we had cars all the time. And so bonus, here comes another fruit stand. And at first I was really worried. I thought, there go half of our customers. But instead of fighting for turf, I realized that they were on the outbound side, like morning traffic outbound. I was on the inbound side. And so we really had two different sides of the road. It was a big road. So instead of fighting for turf, I suggested we just send business each other's way. Did it work? Probably not. But that instinct to collaborate, not compete, has always stuck with me. Later, I built companies, communities, brands using that same principle. When you make your competitors your allies, everyone grows faster. Marketing lesson, don't fight for a slice of the pie, make a bigger pie together. So what is the heart of marketing? Decades later, I've led companies, launched brands, built communities, and helped clients connect technology with humanity. But it all started with that bouncy Bonneville, those 3 dusty teenagers, and a sign that said, Fresh Georgia Peaches. That summer taught me more about marketing than I realized at the time. Ask boldly, hire happy, brand with heart, create momentum, add value, test everything, collaborate when you can. The strategies have changed, but the heart stays the same. Marketing isn't manipulation, it's connection. It's listening to the market, testing, trusting, listening to your clients, and showing up again and again. And maybe most of all, it's remembering that the best marketing lessons don't have to come from a classroom, but they could come from a hot Texas summer, a Bonneville, and fruit stand. Thanks so much for being here. See you next time.